Yes. So, yeah, I want to kind of go into this some more, because for me it's kind of important and stuff. And I'll just get right into it. I'm not scripted or whatever. I'm just gonna ride the cuff like I always do. So, for example, I challenge like things that I find are suspect are usually popular narratives. Most all popular narratives are highly suspect, and some are more obvious than others. But the thing with challenging popular narratives is you're not gonna it like if I'm challenging popular narrative, something that's popular on BitChute, and I'm challenging that narrative, especially if I'm on BitChute, well, it's popular on BitChute. So if I'm challenging it, I'm going to be met much more with condemnation. And oftentimes, it doesn't matter how ridiculous the popular narrative is on BitChute and how easy it is to challenge it. Just by challenging it, I'm just going to get dogpiled by all these people that are arguably just bots or paid trolls or agents or agent provocateurs and useful idiots. And so if I'm doing a channel like I am, it can be really difficult to figure out criticism. Like if somebody's this is just the observation that I want to discuss right now. So I ran a channel for 6 years, and it was on an unpopular subject. And so when people would come to my channel, if they came to my channel with criticisms, it gets kind of blurry as to whether their criticism is based in confirmation bias or if they're just coming from a genuine place of constructive criticism, or if they're trolling, blah, blah, blah. Okay? And if you've ever run a channel, especially 6 years, publishing 3 to 4 videos a week for 6 years and had hundreds of subscribers, where your videos were averaging whatever, say 100 views a video or something, this is a phenomenon that you have to navigate. Or you can just cut out all the comments and disable comments, and then, which is easier in a lot of ways. I've never done that before, but I'm curious to trying it. Nonetheless, here, so my channel was like really controversial because I was challenging the status quo, and it was about homelessness. So my challenge is that all these people are full of shit. All these people that are saying that homeless are just lazy, mentally ill, they're all full of shit. Like, that whole narrative is total garbage. It's complete diarrhea. It's pure brainwash. And all these people that are brainwashed by that narrative, they're brainwashed into believing that all or most homeless are just a bunch of lazy, mentally ill, criminal, blah, blah, blah. They all would get upset. And so then they would come to my channel but see, it was based on confirmation bias. When they're criticizing my commentary, it's based in confirmation bias. And usually they don't even know anything about the subject that I'm talking about. The only thing they know about it is what they hear on mainstream media. And so then they would try to criticize my content based off of their confirmation bias that they developed from decades of being brainwashed by mainstream media. And they would just say, literally word for word, verbatim, parrot the mainstream media taglines on the subject of homelessness in the U.S. And so it's a similar challenge I face with this channel. So I talk about whatever I want, right? But I'll express my frustration with these popular narratives that are obviously just complete rubbish. They're just totally, and that everybody's jumping on these things like they're some big thing. Like, for example, Zionism, the Jays. Just as an example, not to target any one person, I'm telling you, I use BitChute like all day, and it's like it's the Jays is fucking plastered everywhere. Like you can't, and I see it all day, every day. It's the Jays, it's the Jays. And so if I'm criticizing the it's the Jays thing, well, people who have confirmation bias that are all about the it's the Jays thing, they're gonna view my content differently than someone who questions the it's the Jays narrative. You've got people that don't even question the it's the Jays narrative and just jump right on board, and then they're yeah it's the Jays. They don't even question it at all. They're just like, it's the Jays, right? And so if I do a commentary where I'm questioning this it's the Jays narrative, well, I'm going to get a bunch of so-called criticism from all these people that are these masses and hordes of it's the Jays people, right? And then they're going to be telling me that, criticizing what I'm saying in some form or other. Or another one would be the jabs narrative, where everybody's just dropping like flies from the jabs. And so I'll talk about this. I'll be like, dude, I go walk around. I'm like in the public constantly. I'm in Denver, surrounded by people. I'm all over the place. Dallas, downtown Dallas. My job is I'm dealing with hordes and masses of people in downtown Dallas, downtown Houston, downtown Denver, downtown LA, downtown. Like, I am around people all the time during this constant everybody's dropping like flies from the jabs narrative, and I haven't seen one person in real life drop like a fly. And so when I talk about this stuff, people that are like have bought into this everybody's dropping like flies from the jab, they don't like that I'm expressing my observations and comparing my real life observations to the online internet narrative, and just showing, like, look at the difference. You go onto a platform like BitChute, and there's these floods of like videos where they claim everyone's just dropping like flies, right, from the jab. But then I juxtapose that with, well, what am I seeing in real life? Like, I'm alive. I'm out all the time. I'm around all these people. And all this time they've been saying everybody's dropping like flies. In real life, I haven't seen one single person drop like a fly anywhere. And it was the same. And so, but people that really like these narratives, like that everybody's dropping like flies from the jab, they get upset when I challenge it. Because it challenges what they think. They're like, dude, I've been watching all these videos where it's showing people are just dropping like flies everywhere, and you're trying to say that isn't happening. They get upset with me, and then their criticism is based on that. Their criticism of my videos and my channel is based on confirmation bias, not objectivity. Or it can be. So then trying to figure out, okay, which of the criticisms that are coming at me are just genuine constructive criticism of my channel, as opposed to which are just based in confirmation bias, where people just don't like what I'm saying. They just don't like it. Well, because there's the truth, just because something is, like, if I'm talking about something that's true and people don't like it, that doesn't mean it's not true. That just means they don't like that truth. Like the example of everybody's dropping like flies from the jabs. And I'm like, dude, I've been hearing this for about 3 years, But I live in the real world. That's all on the internet. But in the real world, I haven't seen one person drop like a fly. You know, and it's the same with it's the Jays. You know, and so these are massively popular narratives. It's the Jays is like this massively popular narrative. And everybody's dropping like flies from the jabs. Another massively popular narrative that everybody loves. It's just constant upvotes and clicks and views and subscribe. And then, of course, it's always got the commercial in it. You know, we're going to take a break from reporting on everybody dropping like flies from the jabs to plug this product into because we're sponsored by this product. So click the link below, you know, and don't forget to subscribe, likes, and everything else too. Okay, now back to the story. Everyone's dropping like flies from the jabs. And you got all these people that they love it. They're upvoting it. They're clicking on the link. They're buying the product. They're all about it. And then they'll come to like one of those people, because there's so many of them, might come across a video where I'm like questioning it. This narrative where everyone's dropping like flies from the jab, and then they base their opinion of my content on what I'm saying. Like they don't agree with me questioning this thing that everybody's supposed to just go along with without even questioning, like they have. And so then they don't like what I'm saying. So anyways, when I'm receiving like critique from viewers, you know, and this is based in my experience running a channel for 6 years, putting out 3 to 4 videos a week. It's totally common. Like people will critique it, and sometimes it's constructive criticism. Sometimes it's masked as constructive criticism. Sometimes it's just overt trolling. Sometimes it's, you know, whatever. It runs the gamut of all this stuff. And when considering like any type of criticism, no matter what it is, it always has to be filtered through like, well, is this person just pissed off at me because I'm not going along with some popular narrative like Zionism and it's the Jays, or everybody's dropping like flies from jabs, or this non-stop covidiodrome, endless covidiodrome, including everything covidiodrome, including jabs or any and everything covidiodrome. Like I've been questioning covidiodrome since it started back in 2019. All platforms got taken over by 24/7 nonstop covidiodrome. That means everybody's watching it. That means nobody's questioning covidiodrome. They're just like, oh, I'm so glad that the entire platform is nothing but 24/7 covidiodrome now. So then when I challenge it, like, this is dumb. I didn't come to these platforms to listen to non-stop 24/7 nothing but covidiodrome, and I think it's clickbait. I think it's just clickbait. It's just it's just dumb. You know, and then people try to defend it by like saying, well, it's not clickbait. You're putting out the news. But let's break from the news to make sure that, oh, well, that's just because they have to keep money so that they can continue to bring us the news. Like, it's just an endless, nonstop, just all this stuff. And so any type of good criticism or bad criticism, it always has to be weighed with like, well, in connection to, well, what's that video about? So if I'm getting criticism on a video, well, what was my video about? Oh, I'm talking about the Jays. I'm discussing it's the Jays thing, and I'm getting criticism. Okay, how much of this criticism is based in just pure confirmation bias, and has no objectivity to its criticism of my video? It's all just because I'm not going along with what that person believes. So when trying to filter through and weigh out like different criticisms, like which of these criticisms is based in objectivity and which of them is just based in confirmation bias. And sometimes it's a mixture of both, where they might have valid critique of my content, but it's also mixed in with a lot of confirmation bias as well. And so therefore it's not really objective if it's mixed with confirmation bias and some, reasonable, expectation or reasonable criticism. If it's reasonable but mixed with confirmation bias, and nobody's perfect. We all have confirmation bias, right? But it'll usually weigh out. Like it'll be either leaning more towards confirmation bias or leaning more towards just genuine constructive criticism. And dude, the majority of all popular narratives is just garbage. It's just diarrhea that needs to get flushed down the toilet, and that's what's going on. So, and It's the Jays is a massively popular thing, especially on BitChute, and I'm sure it's on Odyssey and Rumble and even YouTube, It's the Jays is a massively popular thing. It has become so ridiculously popular that it's just like stick a fork in it. I'm done. I don't care. I just don't even care anymore. You have so many fanatics and just people that are so fanatic about it that they don't make any sense what they're saying, It's like stick a fork in it. And the Covideodrome is the same thing. 24/7 nonstop Covideodrome since 2019. It's like stick a fork in it. Why even pay attention to it? Who cares if what they're saying is true or not? I've already heard everything that could possibly be said about Covideodrome nonstop for fucking 5 years now. Like, why would I care to even hear any more about it? Or It's the Jays, or jabs, even jabs. The thing is about jabs is, well, I never got one, but everybody's going on and on about it, and on top of it, these fucking ridiculous stories how just everybody's dropping like flies from it. It's like, stick a fucking fork in it. It's done, and this is how I feel. But people that don't feel the same way, their feeling isn't stick a fork in it. Their feeling is we need more of that, more coverage on everybody dropping like flies from the jabs. We need more coverage on It's the Jays. We need more coverage of 24/7 Covideodrome. We can't get enough of it. See, those people are never going to, they're never going to like my content. I could have a perfect channel. I could be a perfect human being running a perfect channel. If I'm not saying what they want to hear, it doesn't matter what the quality of my channel is, because I'm not telling them what they want to hear. They want to hear more about everybody dropping like flies from jabs. It's all the Jays. Endless nonstop 24/7 Covideodrome. That's what they want to hear. The thing about the truth is, there's what people want to hear, there's what people want to believe, there's everything else, then there's the truth. And with people like that, when you tell the truth, they don't want to hear it because they only want to hear what they want to hear. They only want to believe what they want to believe, and then they just want everything else. Like, I want to, show me some makeup tutorial video. Like, give me the stats on what's going on with football scores and stuff. Everything else. Then there's the truth. So if I'm doing a truther channel, I'm talking about the truth, well, all those people, they're not going to want to have anything. They don't want to hear anything I have to say. And so when I'm receiving criticism, if and when I'm ever receiving any kind of criticism, I have to try to weigh it out. Like, how much of this is valid and how much of it is just like based in confirmation bias. Because I'm not buying the popular narrative, the popular and trending narrative. And I can repeat over and over, like, these are massively popular things. It's the Jays. Everybody's dropping like flies from the jabs. Covideodrome, 24/7 Covideodrome. Another really massively popular one is that there's no difference between Trump and Kamala. It's two wings of the same bird. Like, these are all things, like, I'm going to challenge them. And all these people that are drinking the Kool-Aid on this, like the idea that there's no difference between Trump and Kamala, I'm going to challenge that. So anybody that believes that, they're not going to like what I have to say. And it's the same with It's the Jays. I'm going to challenge it. And people that have already bought into the It's the Jays, they're not going to like what I have to say. Again, I could be perfect. I could be the perfect human being challenging It's the Jays. It doesn't matter how perfect I am. It doesn't matter how perfect my argument is. People are just going to go with their confirmation bias no matter what, no matter how great my content is, no matter what level of awesomeness my content, quality of my content is. It'll never matter to those type of people, and those type of people are the majority in the world. They don't care about the truth at all. That's the thing. The thing about the truth is, there's what people want to hear, there's what people want to believe, there's everything else, then there's the truth. So anybody doing truther channels will never be popular unless, you know, they're sponsored by some corporation. They got sponsors. Then they'll be popular because they have to tell people what people want to hear so that people will buy. So anyways, yeah, just a little going in further, a little bit deeper in this rabbit hole about doing a channel and like really going into like when people bring criticism to the attention of someone running a channel. Like, what is that based in? Is it based in truth? Is it based in half-truth? Is it based in pure confirmation bias? And then the person running the channel having to figure out how much of this is you know, is worth considering, and how much of it is just like, why would I even care anyways, kind of thing. You know?